hopes, their strengths, their avenues that they have been using to help stop and reduce the violence in America. Incredible persons, incredible organizations that are out there. And we've had law enforcement, teachers, and mayors. A couple of mayors have come on, and religious and spiritual leaders, and advocates, and all sorts of people. And just amazing how God is working to utilize different people all over to help address these issues. And many times they have some really wonderful and best practices. So it's been a discovery for us all, but it's been an enlightening discovery. And most of all, it's been a hopeful discovery. Just to background, my name is Reverend Zachary Oliver, and Vice President of UPF, who sponsors this program. We initially sponsored, or initially the thrust for this program was dealing with gun violence. And then we realized, well, yeah, we can deal with gun violence. That's an easy one. But let's deal with what is the root cause of anyone picking up this gun, this inanimate object, and hurting or killing his fellow brother and sister. What are the root causes? And then how we can find the different healing methods in order to curb the violence and curb even people initiating themselves to pick up a gun and harm another person. So this is why I've always stressed on our program, let's look at the root cause. Today, without any further ado, we have another guest, and we want to thank her because she came on in the last week. The sound of the trumpets, the sound of the call, and she answered that call. We want to thank her so much. And her name is Carisha Holt. And I'd like her to tell you about who she is, what she does, and how all of this contributes to stopping the violence in America. Welcome, Carisha.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, Reverend Oliver, to be here with you guys on Stopping the Violence. As you've already said, my name is Carisha Holt, and I am the founder of the Care to Make a Change initiative. I will definitely give you a little bit more background about that, but just to get a little personal, I'm 41. I live over here in Franklin, Tennessee. I'm married to my husband for the past 10 years. We've been together 13. I've got a beautiful bonus baby in Jamaica. My husband is Jamaican. And of course, I have a mixed culture as well, so Liberian American. Care to Make a Change is an initiative that I birthed just back in 2023 in February. And again, our focus is to improve childhood illiteracy, which ties into violence that we see across Africa, America, I would say Pan-Africa, say it, for Black and Brown, and we specifically focus on improving illiteracy.
Thank you. Maybe it's your internet connection. It's a little. Hello? I was saying your internet connection, you're breaking up just a tad bit.
Okay. Let me check something really quickly. We know the devil likes to be busy when we are trying to do something great. So let's see if I can fix that really quickly. Thank you for letting me know.
Without a doubt. That's his mission.
Oh.
We heard you very clear when you were speaking at the very end. I could hear you very clearly.
Yes.
I think she froze.
She froze.
Don't tell me I lost
No,
everything.
we can hear. We just heard you, but only thing is you have froze. Your internet. Maybe sometimes it's best to come on, go off, and then come back on.
Nadia, do you have her number?
Yes.
Kindly call her.
Okay.
I'm gonna remove her for now. She has to work on.
Okay.
Well, Reverend Oliver, you may wanna
Yes, yeah, right.
kill the time.
I was in another world. Sorry, audience.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So thank you. Yeah, as she said, the devil is always busy. And I know she has some incredible stuff to share. And she's taken another avenue, dealing with she has stated in the short moment that she had, with illiteracy. And she sees that playing a role. And yeah, if you are not educated, you're not exposed to education, that leads to, the area of ignorance. But here she is, she's back.
I am back, Reverend Oliver, but it looks like there's a technical issue happening with my particular computer. I'm going to tap in using my cell phone and use
No,
it that way.
Carisha, I think you're okay now.
Oh, you guys can hear me perfectly. Okay.
Yes.
I guess to start again, and so sorry about that. If we have a technical glitch, I'll switch devices. But my name is Carisha Holt. I live here in Franklinton, NC, and I am the co-founder, or I should say founder of the Care to Make a Change initiative. My husband also supports, so I always say like he is the co-founder in the background. He's the muscle man. We have been married for 10 years, together for 13, and I've got a bonus baby out in Jamaica. So for me, working to improve childhood illiteracy with this initiative that I started back in 2023 is very dear to my heart.
So if you could just give us a whole overview of what you're doing and how you have been using this initiative in order to play an intricate role in the well-being of those young people who are at risk, and also those people. Okay, then that's right. There will be a PowerPoint. Yeah.
And you'll have to forgive me if I lean in because it's giving me issues with sound. so if you see me look a little confused, it's only because of the network. But again, this is Care to Make a Change, and we can definitely go to slide 2. Today, what we're going to talk about, I'm going to introduce you to CARE, also tell you a little bit about myself as well. I'll definitely touch on topics in regards to how this is beneficial for children specifically, and even overall for societies, because we do focus specifically on Black and Brown children and improving illiteracy with this particular initiative. We'll talk a little bit about statistics because I'm sure you guys will be shocked to see how the numbers of illiteracy here in sub-Saharan Africa, as well as America. Well, we're going to also talk about how we do what we do as well, and then also how you can help with our Ghana campaign that's going on in 2024. Can we go to the next slide? Nadia's being my fingers, and I appreciate it. As you guys all heard, I am the founder of the Care to Make a Change initiative. I started this back in February of 2023, as I was also a participant, a delegate in the Miss Full Figure North Carolina pageant here. If you haven't heard about it, it's been held for, I think, the past 9 years in a row by Purusha Jones. She's the director. And this particular program is phenomenal because it brings together the movers and the shakers in the community to also help to create platforms that are positive across North Carolina, the United States, etc. For my particular platform, I am aiding in both Sub-Sahara as phase 1, and then also looking at the America for phase 2. During my pageant, I had an idea. I wanted to help children. Like I told you before, I am of African and American background. So my father is from Liberia, West Africa. My mother is from Ohio in Toledo. What I've always wanted to do is to give back and help others, because I think we fail to realize it's for the luck of birth, that what family we're born to, what resources we have, and not everyone has those resources available to them. So I decided to team up with 2 partners, the African Library Project and Soulful Indulgences. And my goal was to raise just 1,000 books and build 1 library. Like they say, when God blesses what you're working on, he just brings everything that you need to you. So instead of raising 1,000 books over the past 4 months, which is what you standardly would do, I actually raised above 4,000 to 6,000 books. I was able to build 4 libraries in Africa, over in Malawi, Kenya, Uganda, as well. And so right now we're still going ahead and doing our build and focusing on our 5th as well. So I'm very honored to have become a 2023 Global Literacy Champion. And, like they said, in 2023, I thought work was done, but the Most High said, absolutely not. You've got more work to do. And we've been blessed with the resources to do it by a few folks that I'll be talking about. And we can go to the next slide. Thank you, Nadia. So my key goals with the Care to Make a Change initiative. It's to 1, improve childhood illiteracy across Africa and also America, specifically for Black and Brown children. I'm targeting in regards to that particular group because when you're looking at the literacy numbers, there is support that is needed there. And there are a lot of ramifications for not having the education that she needs. In addition to that, I ensure that these children receive books of representation. As we all are aware, when we're reading books, sometimes it's not from the purview of a minority or someone who is from a minority group. And so we want our children to see themselves in these books, to become passionate and want to learn. When I was a child, I used to love reading. I used to love getting lost in them. And because my parents instilled that in me, I became successful in what I do. Although I'm the founder of this, I also work within project management, portfolio management, as well as program management on a global level. So, I know that without the push for education and specifically reading, I would not have been able to get the certifications, pass the programs that I need to get into the leadership positions that I've been able to achieve. So this is really for me to give back and ensure that we can support children in raising up in the ladder so that they can help their families. What you guys can see on the view is my Ghana campaign. You'll see it all over our Care to Make a Change page. Of course, we've got a campaign going from December, and we were extended out to April 26th so that we can ensure that we can get books to support. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So let's talk about illiteracy, because I'm sure we're really thinking, we've got schools, we've got charter schools, we've got tutors, we've got all these resources. We live in the age of internet. And I don't know about you, when I went to school, computers had just started, I'll say back in 1980s, 90s, computers had just started being in the classroom. We were just starting to learn how to be on them. Now they're just something that's a handheld device you've got free access to, right? But that is incorrect. Not everyone has access to this. And not everybody has access to the educational resources that we do tend to take for granted. So just looking at the statistics for 2023, there's about 773 million people who are illiterate worldwide. That's just worldwide. And again, that is in the age of computers. If we look at America, it's sad to say, but 20% of our adult population, they are not able to read and write. There's folks who go down to get their jobs down here. They can't read the application. They don't know how to fill out the paperwork. They don't know what to do with the paperwork. And when they go in front of someone, because of that esteem issue, they might not properly speak in an interview. And so they're looked over. And it's quite unfortunate because we're dismissing them for something that they were not taught or learned or encouraged versus perhaps their skill sets. When we look at sub-Saharan Africa, there is over 182 million folks worldwide who cannot, what's for that particular region, who are unable to read. And I'll say, you know, I've traveled around. I did tell you guys my husband is from Jamaica. When you go there and you see folks who can only put an X, they cannot control their destinies. And so their hands are, I would say, their lives are now put under a control that is not fair for them. They're not given the due respect. They're not able to find the jobs. They're not able to provide for their families. And this goes worldwide, right? If you don't have the resources, if you can't get to those jobs, then your destiny is in the control of someone else, as well as your economic future. And those have impacts for your family and just for society overall. So, you know, our focus is, again, we want to flip or decrease these numbers so that we can start seeing folks take control over their lives, you know, take control of their jobs and be able to provide as they should and have just the decent human respect that should be provided to them. So, and next slide. So what do we do, right? I talk about, you know, I'm raising books. I want to talk about how we're doing that. And then what does that mean at the end? So you're going to see a couple of photos here, and I'm going to walk you guys through it just to get you guys a little familiar with what we do. So with Care to Make a Change, my goal is raising books. I raise books through donations from corporations as well as individuals. I've had books being sent as far as Hawaii. We've driven up to Kenya. At the time, I think we've had about 4 areas where you could go and drop off books. Now we've decreased it to 2 just due to bandwidth issues. So at this moment, we've got some locations where you can drive and drop off books. We'll go and pick them up. But as you can see in the far top corner, this is when we first started. So this was back in February. We received about 500 books from Restore. They are absolutely fabulous to work with. I end up reaching out to resource managers who own store managers and just inquire in regards to whether they've got donations. We get donations off of Facebook, folks who want to sell their books. They end up saying, yeah, I'll donate it and I'll help a great cause. And then, of course, we've got just individual contributors who just choose to care and want to help out. So when we get these books, we've got a ton of things that we've got to do. We've got to sort them, pack them. But at this moment, when you take a look at the slide, I'd love for you to see in the far right, that's one of the Restore store managers who just thought of us and remembered us and had books for us. On the bottom left, you'll see a couple who was she was an ex-teacher and didn't know what to do with her books and decided to give them to us. And then we've got folks who will just drop them off in our donation bins. And then, of course, people who will bring them by, such as a dear friend of mine in this photo. And we'll go to the next photo. Next slide, please. So once we get the books, it's a lot of stuff that we have to do. We can't just take any and every book. We look at keeping only looking for books that are grades K through 8. They can be used, they can be new. We have to sort them to ensure that there's nothing religious, nothing sexual, nothing that is specific to American culture within these books. You know, Thanksgiving is great here, but around the world, it's not necessarily a known holiday. So we ensure to sort them. You'll see that in the far left upper hand corner. You'll also see our little mascot, Dio, who is now joined with Coco. So there's 2 puppies who help us along the way. Once we sort them, we get into counting them as well. And then we count them and we make sure to pack them as well within our packing parties. And so you'll see that in the far upper right-hand corner where I've got some volunteers who are packing boxes so that we can make sure that we've got the correct numbers. We have the packing slips that can make it across international borders. And then, of course, in the bottom right, you'll see me shipping my first group of 11 boxes. These were going to the African Library Project's a storage facility where they're held until the container shipment is ready for us to take on the load. And from there, African Library Project takes it across the seas. We hand it over to the teachers, and then we're building the libraries there. And we can go to the next slide. On this slide, as I told you guys, there's a freight that we have to wait for to make sure we've got a lot of shipments. I am doing this as a continual. There are some folks who are doing it on a volunteer basis. This is a permanent passion for me, so it's not a volunteer, it's an effort, it's a mission that needs to be supported. So for us, we wait till it gets into the shipment container, and then you can see in Malawi how they are taking those books out. This is actually the fire brigade. They're taking it out and they're taking them over to the university. Where you're seeing these books, we actually had our books included. We had about 1,000 that were sent over to create 2 libraries. So this is now over at the Malawi Institute of Education, where they're having a presentation for the children, also presenting the books. And those include the Chidwabi School Library and the Jack and Jill Primary and Nursery School Library that we helped to build. I'll go to the next one. Here you're able to see the children participating over at the university. They're excited to get the books. In the far right, you're going to see the teacher librarian training. So this is also held at the University of Malawi as well. So I want to pause for a moment. There are 2 types of libraries that we build. We build libraries specific schools, and then we also build community libraries. This is very imperative to be supported because you've got children who are within households who may not have resources, financial resources, right? They might have to make a decision whether to make money and eat or whether to go to school. That is not a decision any child should have to make in this time. I couldn't imagine being a child and having to make at that time. When I visited Liberia about 6 years ago, right now you will see that there are, we saw maids, there's people in servant positions, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they also aren't making the adequate pay. And some folks are not able to even take care of their children. So those children might become house servants, house girls, house boys, doing the cooking and cleaning, making sure to watch over the property. But again, that's where you want not necessarily having a childhood as we would define here, right? Again, those are things that not necessarily children or parents should really have to make those tough decisions, but they do, and that's the reality of the world. What's amazing here is that we're able to create libraries where kids can have access. They don't have to choose. Here's a community library that is accessible to all of the folks that are in that particular area. And so in the right-hand corner, what you're seeing is that the teachers and librarians are being trained on how to maintain those books, check them in, check them out, talk to the children in regards to how they're supposed to return them back, not utilize them. So they go through an in-depth training at that time. At the bottom, after they do that mandatory teacher librarian training and the ceremonial book handover, they're then giving their books, and then they're able to make it to their permanent homes where we have those libraries built as well. If we're able to get more books, which we are at this time within 2024, we can actually fill those libraries with more than just 1,000. We could probably fill them with 2,000, 3,000. And again, this helps the children to learn and also to get the opportunities that they need when they get older. And we can go to the next slide. Here, what you'll see is that we received the 2023 Global Literacy Champion certificate for both of our libraries that we helped to create. It was a godsend to be able to do it. It was just when we talk about these book drives, standardly you really should only be able to do about 1,000 books in over 4 months. We're sitting at about, I would say, maybe 8,000 books, and we did that in about 6 to 8 months. I mean, like, we have been working and rolling and supporting library after library after library. And again, we're going to continue to do that with hopes that we can expand even further worldwide, even into the Caribbean, and then also looking at the opportunities that are here. Last December, before we ended, I thought, okay, well, I'll have to, I've got enough books, I've got enough books for my first library in 2024. So we should be set, but God sent more. So we actually got this huge container that you can see at the bottom left. It was really special. The Restore located over there off of, I wouldn't say it's Wake Restore. I'm probably saying that incorrect, but it's the first Restore that I have volunteered at for the Miss Full Figure pageant. And so for them to be able to think about me, they had been saving all of these kids' books just to give us. So we have over probably 6,000 to 8,000 books in that particular box. But like I said, some of these quotes that you're going to see on the right, when God decides to bless you, he will always cause situations to come together in your favor. No matter what others try to block, no one can block the blessings meant for you. And that's what I'm seeing with this. If you see me tear up a little bit, I get a little emotional about this, so you'll have to forgive me. But although I've been working on this and being diligent, the opportunities that he's opened, the things that he's brought, the people that he's brought into my life, the fact that folks are remembering us and want to work with us, they're hearing that this is something important that they want to participate in. They're also hearing that they want to care. That child doesn't have to be yours to know that you wouldn't want your niece, your nephew, your son, your daughter in a situation where they couldn't control their destiny, in a situation where they have to wake up and not deal or not be able to participate in a childhood. So seeing folks care about what we're doing, it moves me every day. There's a lot of people out there who have great hearts, and I've seen it through my initiative. The next slide, please. So how do you help with everything that's going on, right? You're seeing like tons of books. You're like, well, how do I help? We still need books. We're going to be doing this for years. This is not just something that we picked up that we haven't. The fact that we were able to get 4 libraries, and within a span of 8 months, that's just, it's unheard of. I talked to my counterparts over at the African Library Project, and they're like, you've got books already? I've got books. Like, we're ready. Like, let's, go ahead and get those applications from the teachers and select the schools and provide what we have as donations. But we are always going to need books. The benefit here is that your child might outgrow stories, but those books can live on with people who truly need them. So, feel free, if you've got K through 8th grade reading level books, new, used, we absolutely will take them. In regards to shipping donations, I also collect that. Everything that you see, it's fun out of pocket. We also have people who are very sweet about giving. So each library is about $650. So if you can think about that, that's what, $1,300 for 2. Last year we did raise about $2,600 for 4 to get out. And again, 8 months. So we always need the support and the donations because we want to ensure that children have the capability to get that education that they need. In regards to volunteers, we need sorters, we need counters, we need packers. We literally have about 6,000 to 8,000 books that was recently donated. Our bookcases, we need bookcases. I've already filled all the bookcases that we have. I am almost about to get a new bookcase and just like lead it around the house on the other side so that we can still file in those books and keep everything organized. I'm a project manager, so I do not live in disarray. Like, I've got to have organization, although we're doing this. I will say that although our primary focus right now, like I said, is phase one, for us to work with the African Library Project and to build the libraries that we're doing in sub-Saharan Africa, we also have been in discussion with a couple of other local organizations around here in regards to starting reading hours locally. And then I also received plenty of books for adults as well. I can't ship those overseas. So I am talking to Durham Rescue Mission in regards to whether they would like those books as well. You know, you've got plenty of men, plenty of women, college age folks there, and they need to be able to take their minds somewhere else while they're in that particular situation. So we'll see, you know, how those discussions go, but we are looking to make sure that we can pass on what we've been blessed with so we can bless others. But as you guys can see, we've got our Guyana book drive. That is our first. This will be our 5th library. We just were extended out to May 1st. It looks like they won't have all of the storages ready. And we don't like things sticking in storage for a long time because that's a higher cost, especially for the African Library Project. So at this moment, we're going to have this going until April 26th. We've already raised $200 of the $650, but I am making a stretch goal to attempt to send 2,000 books, 3,000 books. So again, we are looking for donations to help support that, as well as we are also looking for folks who can volunteer because we will be counting and sorting throughout the entire year. I'm sure you guys saw that book bin. So it's quite substantial. But that, I think that takes us, I think that's our last slide. And I think you guys saw at the end, just get the word out. We need folks to, and I know, Nadia, I just said that's at the end, and I know you were like, she said it was done. But we need folks to get the word out, right? What we're doing here, we're trying to make worldwide impact. We're not, you know, it's a lot of folks who can complain about things that's going on in your area, and that's easy to do. Yeah, but you have to take it a step further. And the step further is where you step into the gap and look where you are. I want to pay that back. I want to help someone else. I want to help make sure that they have a better future. You know, I prayerfully hope that some child that we have worked with that has received the book is going to just become so passionate about their education, so passionate, and they become successful, and they go back to, you know, the village, or they go back to the city that they're from, and pay it forward with those children, and help to lift their community up as one person lifts up the other. So it can be done. It just all of us, you know, to concerted effort to make that change. So that is my presentation. And so I guess I would leave it open for any questions, answers. And I'm hoping I hear them all because, again, I know we have a little bit, so I'm hoping.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. What a great presentation. And I would like you to share with us, how do you see by taking young people from illiteracy to literacy, how that plays a part in changing their behavior, changing their outlook, and also how that plays a part in reducing violence, using behaviors that will eventually morph into violence. So that's my question.
A great question, and thank you so much, Reverend Oliver. For that, in regards to the question that you just provided, when folks are not, so I will say it as an example. If we have a child who, let's just say, is unable to read or write, or is unable to have the skills that they need, also is as well, right? For a particular position, they may not look at, or they may pay for income. We already know here in America, you've got minimum wage, you know, we've got plenty of folks who are processing. So even folks who might be touched by this, such as if they were not touched by this, they don't have the educational level and standards that an employer would like them to have. So now you're either being blocked out from having a job opportunity, or you are being underpaid and also underpaid. Now, what some folks can do, Some folks might not choose to move forward with that opportunity. They may feel disrespected, they may feel embarrassed. What they might do is say, I need money now to help my family, and I'm going to look for an easier method, i.e. crime, to ensure that I can get the income that I need to support my family. Now, yes, we might look down on crime, but I mean, let's be realistic. There are some folks who, if they cannot pay for the house, and we know money is just the cost of everything raises every year, and minimum wage is not, then they're going to go for an opportunity to support and feed their family in the manner that they only can. So now you've got someone now being introduced to crime. So now you've got a family that's left with an income that's no longer available, and also perhaps a family member who is no longer there. So now you've got emotional issues that could be in that family. You've got financial issues that can be in that family. If that person is in the criminal system, you know, there's not a lot. There are companies who are making it easier for inmates to also join and rejoin into the corporate and all of these other businesses, but there are quite a few who are not. So now you've got repeat criminality as well. It's a vicious cycle that does start with having education. Everything that I just gave you as an example might be able to be dismissed and not available if you've got someone who is in fact literate and is competent and does have the skills to be able to take on a job, provide a livable wage for whatever position they have. So now being also improve the legacy of you got there, beneficial and helpful to society, right? The other example, it is fortunate but not so much. I have a child who watched criminal behavior, is now repeating that criminal behavior, and that just continues down, right? So we want to stop some of these vicious cycles at the root. And that is education and ensuring that they can learn, that they can read and write, that they get those jobs where they have livable wages, where they can take care of their children, where their children see them in the best light and can continue that in their life. A little bit of a long answer, but my thoughts.
Thank you very much. A great answer. And I think that you're correct. When people read, also it expands their mind, it expands their horizon. It takes them out of that. Some people are just tunnel vision. And it's because of the lack of exposure and the lack of the expansion of the mind. So like you say, they will just do what they see and they don't have any reference point. But when you read, even if you come from a dysfunctional family, you can still read something that can take you out of that to expand your mind, and at least you have a reference point. So education is extremely important, and I totally agree. And another point is that we've had other people come on and they're sharing why they're pushing for jobs. Because as you said, a lot of these people, at-risk young people, they don't have the jobs they need. They don't have the ability to go find a job. And so they have done community work where they go to the entrepreneurs in their community and have them hire those people. Then
yes,
without jobs, they can't take care of their families. So yes, there's a vicious cycles out there. So I'm really, really grateful and moved by the efforts you make. Even though it sounds just like just getting books there, no, you're getting books there to begin to expand the mind of many generations to come. And what I always say, even in Africa and those places are remote places, even in the hood, because I've been to Africa. When I go to Africa and I look at Africa is just a bigger hood. That's how I look at it. Very similar, a big hood in America. So, and within those constructs of those, there are living geniuses there. But if they don't have the outlet and they don't have the reference point, then that genius has become mute and docile and not able to express itself like God would want it to be expressed. So I'm really thankful to you for, sharing your story and how God has moved you. And I think a lot of stuff, a lot of other things will morph out of that, out of the wonderful service that you're doing. So,
Thank you. Thank you. I will tell you, I got joy in my heart every day just doing this. It's, when you look at what can happen and you get those thoughts, it just changes the world.
I would like to open it up for anyone to make any comments or any questions. I know on the text, a lot of people have just expressed their thought. It's just awesome what you're doing. Let me see. I don't know why. Anyone have any questions? Please. The floor is open. Any statements? Want to thank our dear sister Sharon for really opening the door for us to meet you. And just been a great pleasure. What else? Oh, here we go.
I see I've got some pageant mentees on here.
Oh, I see.
You guys see Alexis, she's a mentee.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, anybody else? The floor is open.
Well, I just want to say that, I notice when you read books, it doesn't matter how poor or how rich you are. It's you get to step into somebody else's life and you can understand, and also your creative genes are really flowing. When you read a book, you could decide in your mind what they look like, how they smell, where they're at. It's such a wonderful avenue to become creative. And also, if you never can go to another country, when you open up a book, you can feel like you're there, you're there with them. So reading is so very important for the soul and the mind and the heart to grow. I thank you so much, Carisha, what you're doing.
Yeah, so true. So true. About you, Nadia.
You knew I had an opinion. It was all over my face, I can imagine. Yeah, these programs that we've been having, people have really surprised me. The offenders have really surprised me because, let's see, oh, here we go. They've surprised me because they don't want that life. Some of them, not all of them, but they don't want that life. And the thing that's holding them back many times is, opportunities for jobs. Well, if you can't read, if you can't, read the form to apply and, et cetera, it's going to limit you. And so this is really, we're really getting down to the nitty gritty now, because we've discovered, yes, employment is a big thing. And now you brought to our attention reading. I mean, who knew that so many people couldn't read? So this is really important that we can see the big picture through your presentations like you've given and solutions like you've given, because it's not only in sub-Saharan Africa, I'm sure, because I'm sure that they're doing things like this here in the United States too. So thank you. Very, very interesting. Great to meet you.
Yes, I agree with you. Thank you, Nadia. Especially, yes. Because I meant to also say that the stats are always overwhelming and enlightening. You don't know, right? So when people give out those stats and you're like, where have I been? Is that really happening? Yeah, so 20% of the American population can't read. That's pretty hefty, amount of people. And that's what you said, correct?
It's 20% of the population here who are unable to read. And, it really says a lot in regards to when we start to look at, our criminal rate, when we start to look at the homeless issues going on. Not to say that economic conditions are the main reasons for why those things happen, but you have a portion of folks who child unable to eat, you're unable to eat. I think sometimes for America, especially, and I love the fact that you guys brought up, those statistics were startling, but we do need to be startled because we start to feel very complacent in a society where we've got cell phones readily accessible and we can all go buy them, I'm pretty sure, but there's folks who they can't afford that. Some folks who can't afford computers. And even if they couldn't utilize it. So, our goal again is just to make sure that we get to the root cause and not just, fixing some of those, glossing over some of the key issues, because really the true root is you have to be passionate
Since you were saying, yeah, books, your books are going. You have books for all ages, not just for one age. You focus on everyone, and that's what makes you so special. And it's true when in most people who are talking about gathering literature for export to other countries, I really never heard them talk about sorting them out, especially from religious and points of view, and also you mentioned American point of view. That's not your point. You're not there to give them something that is alien to them, but give them something that they can relate to just broadly on an educational basis. And I thought that was a very noble task or a noble policy that you have.
Thank you. We want to focus on the cultures that we're working with. So we do limit, sexuality and certain things because what we want to ensure is not our ability are pressed onto someone, but that they was in our education and that's like as a tool to do that.
Yeah. So what I'm going to ask you, because someone said, I love your zeal. You have a wonderful, vibrant, bubbly personality, and it's very natural. And it's quite catchy. But what I want to say to you too is you are still breaking up. And I want you to get the last words, and this is recorded so people can hear you. So if you don't mind, we still have a little bit of time. If you feel that you want to put it on your phone so we can capture every word that you're saying.
Told her, and I did mention that I'm getting a handyman to come install the unit for us. The handyman asked for $238, which
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, it's been very interesting, this conversation. Are you on? That's great. You said on our previous programs, we talked about jobs, we talked about all other things, but really didn't focus on the area of education, which is a really critical component. And it's true how those at-risk communities, kids, knowing that they can't read, just deters them from even attempting to go down and get a job, even if they really want to, but they live in they're forced in a vicious cycle, because even if they want to, but they don't know how to, and then their pride is broken because they can't go down there and fill things out, and they don't want, and many times people don't want to tell you, right? They don't even want to tell you that that's their issue. So they stay in the dark and become victims to ill behaviors, and leads to other things. And yeah, it's something that it's great to take into consideration while we are discussing the reduction of crime in America and in our communities and on a worldwide level. Because America plays a critical role in influencing the world still, no matter what you think of America, America still can influence the world in a positive direction. So we begin to heal some of the issues here. How much more can we be a catalyst and a voice, a substantial voice to those in other communities?
Reverend Oliver, thank you so much. I hope you can hear me a little bit better.
Much better. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I did want to thank you so much for the compliment on the personality. As you guys see, I'm going to be looking down a little bit. I was voted as Miss Congeniality, and one thing that I will say the pageant queens who I had ran with, but I tend to think like our goal, our objective in this world, if you truly want to know your purpose, is just to be a blessing. And I really want to be a positive blessing in this life. And it starts with one, gratitude throughout the day, throughout the night, in regards to what God has blessed me for, and also gratitude for me being able to bless others. Some people don't even get a chance to experience that. And that in itself is the biggest blessing that you can do. When you hit a point that God has given you this abundance, you turn around and you help others, because you cannot take wealth and resources to the next life. But what you can do is leave a positive legacy that's lasting here with folks in regards to their memory, and also how you touch and impact them. So I absolutely appreciate you guys having me here. This has been a wonderful platform. I know the devil's been busy with the network, but I hope you guys got the overall message. And if anyone wants to, contact me, don't mind putting my phone number I'll put my actual phone number versus Google Voice. I'll put that in there. You can find me on WhatsApp. I also have, I'm on LinkedIn. Like I said, I'm a professional project manager. So once I get done, I go back to my project management life. But those skills that God blessed me with, who knew in the industry I'd be here 20 years, and even being the first Black woman in some instances in my job to do global things, would allow me to get into a position where I have a skill set that I can use for this particular initiative. So just a heads up going forward, you guys, we will be working on becoming an actual nonprofit. That paperwork will be going in. And I just can't wait to look to bless folks in Africa. If we can do, again, America with what we're planning to, with the reading hours, and also just continue doing the work that we're supposed to be here for.
Zachary, you're muted.
I'm sorry. I want to give one more person something to say, or ask you a question, so we can get your feedback more clear than it was previously. And then after that, I want you to make closing remarks, and we can go forward from there. Anyone else just have any questions, any statement that you would like to share with our dear sister, Carisha? It's time. I know because it was a late, many of our audience and people were here and not on. Anyway, if not, I'd just like to make some summations too. I want to thank you for coming on and sharing what you shared with us, because that is what another avenue to look at and to integrate into the whole pie that is needed to play an intricate role in reducing crime. Reducing crime, that's just a word. That's a thing. But what is it that we're really looking at? Root causes. And root causes is where the rubber really meets the road, if you will. And so we have to look at what are the root causes, and there are in different categories, right? And so we're grateful for you to come and share with us that category, because actually when I was listening to you in the educational piece, also I realized that it segues into our other speakers and the avenues that they have used in prevention and post-crime events, and even in the area of recidivism. So we want to really thank you for coming on. Yes, if you can put all your information on the chat, and you could say it for a live audience also, that would be great as well, so they can get in contact with you. And of course, we will stay in contact with you via Sharon Pace, a very good friend who really admires and loves you very much. So I would just like to ask you, as we are coming into the close, that you can give us some of your closing remarks.
Absolutely. Thank you guys all so much. I know I put in the chat, but just to say, I can be reached. I'm giving you my direct line. I normally give my Google number, but you guys are extra special crowd. So I can be reached on my mobile on 704-258-6483. I am on WhatsApp as well, so you can reach out to me that way. My email is andreaholtk@gmail. So you're also able to reach out to me via email as well. If you would love to support or sponsor or donate, please don't hesitate. I have the Care to Make a Change page on Facebook, so you can follow us there. You will see the latest and greatest. We just put up the fact that our shipment, I think it was for Uganda, is on its way, and we'll have more pictures in regards to that library build as well. But I think the one lasting thing that I want to say is that although you guys see me at the forefront, I would not be here and able to do this if not for the support of God, number one. Number two, my partners like Soulful Indulgences with Carrie. She's on here. I got to shout her out. She was my first partner who wanted to support because she wanted to help children. And she's come here to sort, pick through, help, brought her kids, even the African Library Project. Without them, we wouldn't be able to get these books across the seas to where they need to get to. So it's not just me, it's everyone who's choosing to care, who's choosing to say, I want to make a change, which is exactly why we have the name of the organization as it is, because we want folks to care. We don't want you to be disenfranchised. Even if it's not a large change, we're making a small one. And what would happen if we didn't, right? So instead of just, tossing the towel in, let's push forward all together and say, this is a problem. We want to fix it. And we're going to work together to ensure that it doesn't exist and it doesn't impact babies, because no one in this day and age should have to be impacted with illiteracy. So thank you guys so much. You guys, this is my first time with you, and you're going to be dear in my heart, and I really do appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all.
I just want to share that live on audience now. Karen's play on her name, K-A-R-E, and her name is Carisha, is spelled the first four letters of her name, Care, K-A-R-E, to make a change. So those people out there, if you want to look her up, that's how you can find her, through that name as well. We want to thank you, Carisha Holt, for everything that you have shared with us. We look forward to following up with you, and also those who I'm quite sure there's several books that are out there from the people in our audience. We'd love to donate, and we look forward to hearing from you again. God bless you. I want to thank everybody for coming on again. It was very special one. We have a new category in deeper explanation called education and reading and literacy. God bless you and thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful time. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Risha. Excellent job. Really,
Yeah.
your heart. Your
Well,
heart.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nadia.
okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nadia.
So much. We will see you again.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.